all my listeners, viewers from across the globe. Today we have a Professor Baikov from St. Petersburg University with us. And I have interviewed some people like Director General of Russian International Affairs Council in Moscow, and also on western side of the globe. So today my question, that was before the crisis started taking shape. So today, when we are almost in the middle of the situation, my first question to Professor Baikov is that, sir, what you, as an academic, what do you think about this ongoing situation?
First of all, thank you, Ratnesh, for having me with you and with your audience. And I'm really not happy with all situation in general as a person. And I hope for peaceful resolution of this conflict. But if you ask me as a person, but if you ask me as a professor, as a political scientist, I would say that this conflict has a long history in the history of Soviet Russia and before in Imperial Russia. So it's rooted long in the history, and there is some question of boundaries of which territories belongs to which country, and etc. So it's a long history which got alive recently, well, maybe the last decade. And I think there is a huge change in politics by Mr. Putin, President Putin. Also, last decade, 10 years or maybe more, because at his first two tenures of his two terms in power as a president in the beginning of the century, he was actually very progressive and very liberal president. He also used to talk about entering North Atlantic treaty organization. Yes, in the beginning. So, but gradually he changed his views, and today he looks like imperialist, I would say, and thinking to have some parts of Ukraine and maybe Belarus and so on. So it's very unfortunate turn, and also there is a huge tendency of authoritarian rule in Russia. So last year it was a change in constitution which allows Mr. Putin to continue his ruling, actually with no limits in time. So that's unfortunate development from point of view of modern political science. Actually, Russia is not a democracy, or, well, even electoral democracy. It's not so today. So it's actually very unfortunate, and I'm very worried about the future of Russia.
One thing everyone from the world want to know and very curious to know is what made President Putin decide to take such an extreme step. Because when he declared DPR and LPR as independent countries, people like me who is sitting in India, we believed, personally I believe, that he will stop there. He has given independence to LPR and DPR, and that was not a very new topic, as you rightly said. This was going on since many years. So once he given independency to LPR, DPR, I thought he will stop there. But what prompted President Putin to take this extreme step to attack on Ukraine, and that too not to a very light extent, but to extreme extent that now air raids are going on in several cities. The tanks, huge tank convoy. Uh, we are
Yeah,
we are
I see
seeing
what you're talking about. Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. Please, please.
yes. I see what you're talking about, and actually it was also a very big surprise for me as for you, that also I didn't predict that that the situation will follow like this. Will continue to some full-scale military operation to send some troops to Kiev and other cities of Ukraine. It was a big surprise for me as a political scientist, but actually maybe we have no all information available. And today in Russia we have a very closed system, and like well, a secret service community ahead of the state, and they covered all these steps in some secret operations style mode, I don't know,
But
stealth
he
mode.
but he pulled up. But he pulled up the Secret Service chief also. A few days back, he
Yes,
was
yes,
pulling up
yes.
a Secret Service chief. No, that's a secondary thing. I mean, now entire West is behind Russia. So many sanctions, economic sanctions, financial sanctions.
Well,
Now,
I think that
no, my question is, how will Russia sustain to these sanctions?
well, actually, I think that it depends on the scale of these sanctions. Today, we can see that they're more than we used to think about them. So we predicted that maybe some financial restrictions, some limitations to the money flow, and so on. But today we see that we have more than we used to think. So we got in this situation a little bit prepared. We have our own money transfer system inside the country. We prepare some money for the military operations. So we have a huge reserves in terms of money and so on. So actually, the biggest sanction will be the stop selling of oil and gas for Russian industry. So that would be the biggest problem for our economy. But you can see now it's not the issue. Still is not the issue. So I expect that we will have more sanctions coming, and this will destroy actually Russian economy. Well, in several months, I think. But today we can sustain this. We actually our ruble, our money, our ruble, yes, he lost it only, well, 30% of the value, and it's not so much, I think,
Yes, yes.
and it could be worse. And still, we have
Professor,
some reserves.
Professor,
Yes.
just 1 minute. You are trying to say that almost like China, where everything is, I mean, every China is not dependent on West. They have their own financial system, they have their own banking system, they have their own software, they have their own social media apps. So do you want to say Russia also have practiced something like that? So if West imposes or have imposed any sanction, it will not impact Russia too much. And secondly, the second thing you said, that oil and gas. My opinion is Russia itself is a big producer of oil and gas. So
Yes, and
if
if
financial sanctions Russia can manage, then oil and gas will not be a big problem because it itself produces.
no. You don't understand the whole income of some technologies and money and something like resources came from export of oil and gas from Russia to West. So
Okay.
we are highly dependent on this money flow from West,
Oh,
selling our gas and oil, and it's embargo. I don't know how to call it in English. So we mostly afraid of embargo.
oh, I see.
Not,
Okay, okay, got
yeah,
you.
you see my point, yes.
Yes.
And maybe not we, not Russians, but the state, yes, and Mr. Putin. So it's a crucial point of our economical system. So if we will not be able to sell our oil and gas, that will be a big fiasco. And actually our economic will collapse in that case. Not
So you
now, not
fear,
yet. Yeah,
Professor,
yes.
you
It,
fear
it could
that
be
due to
possible,
this
yeah.
ongoing war, Russian economy may collapse in coming years.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So,
That's I think it's very unfortunate development, and I think I hope that will not the case in hand. It will not happen in finally this embargo and full-scale war and so on. But I also didn't expect the military operation on mainland or Ukraine cities. So
you are a political
maybe I'm wrong
scientist.
also.
Okay. You are a political scientist. You teach at a top university, not only in Russia. St. Petersburg University is a top university if we take world parameter, global parameter. Professor, tell me one thing. What Russia aims to gain, what Russia or President Putin aims to gain from this military operation. If I use the term which Vladimir Putin is using, he's not calling it war, but he's calling it military operation. So what he is aiming to gain from this military operation?
That's a very good question. I also asked this question all days, all long, last week, I would say, each day I ask this question, and I have no answer actually from Mr. Putin and his team. I do not have this answer. Actually, will we satisfy to occupy Kiev, and what next? What the goal? I don't get the answer.
Oh, I see. So this is what I guess most of the journalists are trying to understand, what is in Vladimir Putin's mind. Secondly, do you think he will stop after winning Kiev, or he will think of other this is something like very clear that Ukraine is the biggest country out of CIS countries other than Russia.
Yes, yes,
If he
yeah.
wins Kiev, then will he eye for other smaller countries like Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan? Are he aiming diplomatically or by military operation, or is he now aiming to make a USSR, bring the former USSR nations at one platform? Is this
Yes,
what
that's
his political ambition is?
yes, maybe this is a political ambition to to get back to the USSR as it used to be. Yes, in these boundaries of former USSR, maybe, but who knows actually? And that's the biggest question for our political scientists. We do not know actually what Mr. Putin wants, what he actually when he actually stops, and so on. So I think that this operation right now is going not very well. Is doing not very well at the moment. So I think that possibly we will have some negotiations with Ukraine, and will some ceasing of fire, and we'll have some temporary agreement to stop the fire, and maybe some diplomatic discussions. I hope so, because actually right now I see that Russia doing not so well in economic terms, in political terms. There is some resistance to war inside Russia. Well, actually, there is a petition with 1 billion Russians signed this petition on change.org. So some manifestations against the war. So it's maybe a minority of the Russians, but some poll says it's about 20% of Russians who are against the war and about 60% of Russians who are favor to military operation, and some 20% who doesn't know what to think about this. So I think,
Professor, one thing I wanted to ask. A few weeks, 2-3 weeks back, I was talking to Director General of Russian International Affairs Council. He said two things. He said nobody knows what is in Vladimir Putin's mind. And second
Yep.
thing, he quoted a Kazakh leader. He said those who does not regret disintegration of USSR are heartless. But those who think that USSR will again be in place, they are brainless.
Yes. That's the biggest problem, I think, for Russian international policy. We have no friends, actually, and we have no allies, effective allies. And I think it's a dead end, I would say, for our policy. And that's actually, as a political scientist, I cannot agree with these politics. And so I'm also signed this petition against war because I think that it's not a way for Russia to live in the future.
You yourself is saying that Russia does not have too many friends.
Yeah.
True. But here in India, we have sympathy for Russia. I'm telling about the political leadership. To be very frank, Russia and India are age-old friends. And Russia has helped. It is a fact that Russia has strategically and militarily have helped India on too many occasions. And you have seen that in the United Nations very recently, India has abstained from voting against Russia. This has a very significant political definition, political meaning. So do you think Vladimir Putin can gain some more friends from Asia or Europe?
Well, he tried to get some friends in Asia, and he tried to get some friends in Europe, also inside European Union, where were some allies there, Hungary and its president, Orban, and so on. But actually, this is this situation, this military operation that looks like unnecessary operation, actually, and with some casualties that destroy the image of Russia all around the world, and that's a problem I see also. Well, and of course, I like that the fact that India and Russia are friends, and I like the fact that Russia and China are friends. It's okay, but also we have Europe. Why not be friends with Europe? Well, actually, we, as I mentioned before, we sell them gas and oil, and in return we have some money and some technologies. What's the problem? Why you should to fight with Europe and destroy all your economy? I don't get this.
Oh, so as you said that 20% Russians are against the war, 60% Russians are favoring the
official,
operation, and 20% doesn't know. So, Professor, do you think this conflict, this military operation, by any means can extend up to a level of World War III? Do you think this conflict?
Well, 1 week ago, I would say I did say I could say that no, but today, well, maybe not 1%, but some chance, yes.
Because
that's unfortunate.
Tonight, President Biden is going to give first of its kind state address. And most of the Western media, even I have tweeted about it, most of the Western media is guessing again that he will take some strategic or military decision. Tonight,
Well, that's also my my point that this situation could develop in some third war, yeah, world war, yeah, maybe. But I hope it's not the case. But well, who knows? Well, that's very dangerous situation in this conflict, and well. I actually think that Vladimir Putin didn't anticipate this amount, this level of sanctions and this level of public opinion outrage in Europe and in United States, but especially in Europe, because now public opinion in European countries wants more sanctions toward Russia, and they demanding more sanctions, and that's why we have this situation with aircraft, fleets and civil flights situation, and stopping all civilian flights in Europe for Russians and so on. So that's unpredicted. That was unpredictable situation development, and it's getting worse.
you see, sir, one thing, when Vladimir Putin gave independence to DPR and LPR through a decree, he was still a hero. But now, with public opinion going against him, he's turning out to be a villain.
No. The public opinion supports him. It's 60% supporting him. So 60% is.
But what about the rest of the Europe? What about the rest of the Europe?
Well, I'm afraid that Mr. Putin doesn't care about.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Europe. Yeah. So,
okay.
Actually, several years ago, Mr. Lavrov, he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Russia, he said, okay, it's no time, we do not spend money on improving image of Russia because it's useless. So it's like it's useless to improve image of Russia. So let's do not spend money for that. I disagree with his policy, with his politics. So you need to think about your image, international image. It's like
But I think Putin hardly cares about it. What is his international image?
Yeah.
So I also think that Putin. Okay. Cut. Okay. 1 minute.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. I hope Putin would have calculated about these sanctions and the kind of image he would be developing after this military operation. I think he already had calculated about it.
You think?
I think.
Yes. Well, maybe because after the Crimea situation in Crimea, yes, Peninsula, and 8 years ago, yes, in 2014, whereas a huge decline in of popularity of Russian in West, but where was an increase in popularity of Russia and Russians in the West. Vice versa. In China and India,
let me. You are running out of time, sir. One final question. Now, most of the West is saying. Most of the West is saying that Vladimir Putin is at fault. But by any chance, people like me also holds Joe Biden and West responsible for this kind of situation, because Putin was asking for security of Moscow, and they did not give security guarantee. And as a result of which, since West was not listening to Vladimir Putin, he ultimately decided to take this extreme step. Do you think?
I see your point, Ratnesh. Maybe I would agree with you partially. Yes, when you have a military coalition like NATO, yes, you need to have some agreements with our players and consider their interests in the field of security. Yes, I would agree with you. Yes, absolutely. But I think personally that President Putin used this international situation to secure his personal power in power. You see my point. So
Yes, yes.
he served as a president 23 years long. Yes, he have a huge period of time to handle this situation. Why didn't he start these negotiations earlier? 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Why did he start 5 days ago with some military
I got
operation? You
it.
see my
Got it.
point?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes. So I see that this situation today differs significantly from Ukraine, from the situation with Crimea and 8 years ago. And in that time, he got a popularity like 87% supporting this situation 10 years ago. Yes,
I
8
see.
years. But today, not so many, because it's like the same scenario to improve your public image and get elected another time. So I think that there is a domestic reason for this military operation also
Okay. With
for
this
President
note,
Putin.
with this note, Professor Baiko from St. Petersburg University, which is one of the best universities, I thank you personally very much for taking some time out to tell the world what is a balanced approach about ongoing military operation in the words of Vladimir Putin inside Ukraine. I hope it will clarify many points for my viewers. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ratnesh, for having me.